Thank you for being with us, joining us back on Conversations. And we're here with Mike Kim, and we're going to continue the conversation on North Korea. For those that make it out, okay, and they learn that the United States isn't that bad, what is their process of going through that, of just reworking their mind and trying to get, I guess,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
back into.
It's a big challenge. I mean, they come out. They've been taught this a certain way since birth, and they fear you. They fear me because I'm an American. They know that I came from the U.S. and it takes time. And it's just building trust, and they don't understand the concept of someone trying to help them and not wanting anything from them. They don't understand the concept of trust because they're brought up in a society where you're taught not to trust, and you're taught to look out for your own and steal from people to survive. It's a survival of the fittest in North Korea. So it takes time, but over time, I do earn their trust. Seeing the transformation is a beautiful thing. Seeing this North Korean make the transformation to building a relationship, we become friends, and seeing them want to help other North Koreans. So we employ them, and 100% of the proceeds of that project go towards helping North Koreans, but we employ them and give them a salary, and seeing them use their salary to help other North Koreans, and seeing that transformation has really been beautiful.
Gosh, what a wonderful story. You have a book, and it's currently sold in bookstores around the country.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, it's available in the major bookstores, on Amazon. I started off doing Barnes and Noble book signings throughout the country. That's how I started off.
Now you're back in the United States. Your book is doing well, and you get a movie deal. How did that happen?
It was after an interview with Jon Stewart on The Daily Show, and he, I guess after that interview, I was a guest on his show. Hollywood started contacting me with interest in turning it into a movie. Various agencies contacted me saying, hey, is anyone working on turning this into a movie? And I guess the thinking was, if it's cool enough for Jon Stewart, then it's cool enough for the big screen. So we began conversations that eventually got picked up by William Morris Endeavor. They are one of the top Hollywood agencies, and we are now working on the script, and we hope to make this movie one day. It'd be a pretty amazing story to tell the story of the North Korean plight and their struggle, the suffering, and then tell about be able to raise awareness regarding the North Korean human rights situation.
Okay. As you go around to speaking engagements, are you surprised that people aren't as aware of what's going on in North Korea?
Yeah, I am. A lot of times I am, and people, even after I did the interview with Jon Stewart, people would respond and say, I had no idea that this was going on. And when you think of North Korea, you generally think of the nuclear situation or the military, but you don't think of the North Korean human rights situation, and that gets overshadowed oftentimes. So I was initially surprised, but it's changing every year. There's so much more media. You see it in the news and the papers, and every year it's changing, where more and more people are becoming aware of what's going on over there.
Now, I was also kind of surprised that there's a different economic situation going on in North Korea, where a small percentage live very, very well, and the larger percent do not. And the percentage that do not, they're not even aware that these people are living that way.
Right. The elite, they say there's about 600 loyalist families in North Korea. They are loyal to Kim Jong-il. And like now we're talking about the loyalists to Muammar Gaddafi in Libya. And you have these families that are taken care of, that are supportive of the regime. And yeah, they live very well. I mean, you can read about all of the anomalies of this group. Kim Jong-il at one time was the largest importer of Hennessy cognac. He was, I think he has the largest Daffy Duck collection in the world. He's a big Michael Jordan fan. He has a huge DVD collection. They live off of caviar, Mercedes-Benz, the top of the lines that he buys for all of his supporters, Omega watches, all of that, and it's just it's quite humorous at some level. Yeah, and then
Hennessy.
that he was the top importer of Hennessy at one point. So this is, and it's one of the biggest secrets, right, of the regime. The people don't know that they're living like that. While he asks the regime to cut down to 2 meals a day to support their regime, or the people. He's asking the people to cut down and to get creative with their eating habits, to eat grass and roots. I mean, there's public campaigns where
to eat grass.
Right, eat grass, eat bark. You can keep yourself fed that way because there's such a shortage of food, while the regime indulges and uses their money for nuclear weapons and the military.
Okay, eating grass.
Yeah. North Koreans they'll eat grass, tree bark, anything to survive, because the UN has said North Korea is the worst modern-day famine since Ethiopia. So that's going on as we speak. I mean, there's not enough food for people. People are dying. Millions have died as a result of the famine. So there's not enough food, and
healthcare is not.
Yeah, and healthcare. Famine and malnourishment and disease go hand in hand. So people are getting sick, and people will have to get creative with their eating. So the regime has officially asked people to cut down to 2 meals a day and to get creative in their eating habits, as I had mentioned.
What is the infant rate for survival? Is that?
I don't know the exact rate. They do say the North Korean children and people are a certain number of inches shorter than their South Korean counterparts. So because of the malnourishment. So they are clearly malnourished and shorter. And I've met people teenagers where they told me they were 15 and I thought they were 9. I mean, there's such a discrepancy in their bodies and their age because of the malnourishment. I'm not sure at the infant level, but it goes in waves, and some of the statistics say 2 million total have died from the famine.
Let's go back to the human trafficking that you talked about earlier. When they are kidnapped, is it ever reported? Does it get any sort of attention?
When they're kidnapped, a lot of times the families don't know. The way it's done is these Chinese businessmen, in conjunction with North Korean businessmen, will go into North Korea, say to a family, "We've got an excellent job for your daughter back in China. She's going to go to this factory, make X amount of money, and be able to send money back and help your family." So they're brought out, and they never hear from them again.
Do these girls believe that? I mean, do the families actually believe that?
For the most part, they do. They believe that there's this job. They believe that, and they're just hoping that they can have some money to survive. So this is a common problem, that people are being deceived. Or if women venture into China on their own, they'll be abducted and sold to the highest paying man that's willing to, a lot of times it's about $1,000 US dollars that they're paying for them. But it's a big problem, the sex trafficking ring. And
it's big here in the United States.
Here as well.
Everywhere, yes.
That's right. I just came in from Washington, D.C. and walked around, and the other weekend, some aid workers there, anti-trafficking people were walking me around and showing me brothels in the D.C., and you just can't believe that this is going on in Washington, D.C. There's apparently 5,000 massage parlors that operate as a front for prostitution here in the U.S. So 5,000 we have in the U.S. I had no idea.
Are they ever abducted to come to the United States, the North Korean women?
Some are. I think there would be few. More so it would be Chinese women that are brought here. There are definitely Chinese, but North Korean women would be a lot fewer.
Now, you did also talk about a story, and we just have a short time left, about a gun was actually pulled on you when you were there.
Yeah, I start off the introduction of the book. It's a story I tell in the opening paragraph. When one of the things we did was illegally crossing borders from China, from North Korea, China, to Laos, to Thailand, to help people ultimately get to safety. And we were illegally crossing borders, and I found out later we were using drug trafficking routes. So we would I was pleasantly pleased at the thought that we were using drug trafficking routes to free sex trafficking victims. So when we were illegally crossing borders, there were times where it did get quite dangerous. So there was one time when we were held at gunpoint, AK-47s pointing at us, and held under house arrest for a couple of days. Eventually everything worked out, thankfully, and the women were eventually, they're now safely in Seoul. But there were some pretty scary moments along the journey.
Okay. Well, you have shared some of the stories that I've never heard, and I thank you for that. Inspirational. The book is great, and we thank you for your heroic actions going into such a risky situation to help refugees in North Korea escape.
Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, and thank you for being here on campus with
Sure,
us today.
it's been a good time.
It has been a
definitely.
good time, and you're very welcome to come back.
It's good to know.
And we
Yeah.
look for the movie to come out. So
Yeah, we hope so.
I'm going to be looking for that.
Yeah, we hope so.
Okay, well, thank you, Mike.
Great.
Sorry, I'm losing my voice. Thank you, Mike, for being with us today. And
you.
we thank you for being here and joining us for Conversations. And we'll see you next time. That was great.